Skyline, Rewind, Hacienda, Røkkr, and if we get to the game 5, the new addition to the CDL dealership.
Those CDL points by like 70 or 80. So anyone that's sitting in the bubble is going to be a very important matchup. Boston Breach, obviously, the Des touched on it. They want to try to improve their map pool. And when you talk about their hard points, they love to play Hasi. They love to play Vault. But they need something else in the mix. And recently, they have been finding a lot of success here on Skyline. But Minnesota Røkkr, with the new addition of Kenny, they gave Optic a run for their money last time around.
Yeah, they really did. And a little bit of a wake-up call, I think, is what some people may have kind of labeled that as for Kenny. Just kind of really kind of turning a leaf, maybe just saying, hey, look, I still got this. Like, you know, you can drop me, you cannot want to play with me, but boy, I'm still gunning. See how things go, though. Again, like we mentioned, this is a very crucial matchup for multiple reasons. But to start things off, Minnesota, a good break-off. Now trying to reset, and this is where they can start to run away with the game. When I was watching Minnesota Røkkr versus Optic, one thing that they tend to struggle with is their breaking. Like, you heard that's touch on it, Narrow sometimes he's a little too aggressive, and you cannot have that versus a Boston squad who is really good in the teamwork aspect in certain hardpoint maps. You also got to keep in mind that Boston, you know, kind of suffering from the tribulations of not being a strong rotation-based team, are also very successful at breaking across the entirety of the map pool. So it's one of those things. It's like, it may not have been great, but hey, you've gotten a lot of experience when it comes to finding ways to break open hardpoints. And so far, things have been pretty swimmingly, I'd say, for both these two teams. 30 seconds to fight across the top of P2, but this little push out for Minnesota looks like they're going to have Snoopy at bay, and he actually will fall to an aid. So it looks like the scrap time is largely going to be good for Røkkr.
Yeah, that's beautifully played right there from Røkkr on that break attempt. Everybody attacking a different angle, winning their one-on-one, spawning Boston all the way across the map. The moves he's able to make, the play-making decisions that he's able to make. He's just an outstanding SMG player.
Absolutely agree with it. I think most would. Nice double here from Gio. A little bit of support onto Purge, but kill still comes through. Not able to turn that into a second. So we'll get a 3v3 over the top of Kitchen. Now down to what happens over the top of the bar. Back and forth we go. Cammy versus Estriel, but Cammy's been septexed and damaged, and that'll be enough for him to kind of hold his ground while the rest of his team tries to come and support.
Yeah, when he thinks the region's going to come on in, another stun connects. Now he's still stuck at bay and allows Minnesota Røkkr, at least for now, to work their way back into the HP. But Boston have the numbers. They get it clean forward. Dead spawns are starting to get a little bit scattered, and this is where Snoopy can tend to be a little bit activated.
Real, and you see Kenny spawn right up behind P4. So Minnesota will win the rotation to the spawns to new.
Now you just got to hold down the first push. You know that Boston a good approach from top flat, but just making this a little bit mixy. It's causing Minnesota to think a little bit more. The pressure's there through the backside of Kitchen. You go 2 for 2 in the gunfight, but as long as Boston stay alive in this position, they will spawn their teammates close. All you have to do is just finesse, though. Estriel, again, on 5 in a row. Just doing a great job of just playing the objective. This is how you want to contest here at P4.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get Hero right here with him.
Oh, my God.
For Estriel. Dances away from the Septex, and now you can try to break this open if you're Røkkr. And Estriel's just playing shoulders, playing the angle. Snoopy's the last one left, and the slide out with the combination of Geo will work for Minnesota to break from the front and flip the spawns. Looking for this back 15 seconds, but Boston close by, still giving it a fight.
Yeah, get P2, early rotation over towards P3, and the majority of that time there at P4 gives them a 35-point lead, and Estriel is still not missing.
No, he's looking real solid at the moment. I know Ann often likes to talk about this Minnesota team before 3 p.m. Sometimes they look a little sleepy, but Estriel has been lights out. Now Kenny follows up. That'll be enough for Røkkr to get into the hard point and break past the 100-point mark.
Now you can already see they're taking a lot of space with it, so every gunfight is super important here for Røkkr, because
Nero can just kind of play the zone man here.
Wait.
Or do you not actually secure the spawns? Purge is going to come up from behind, and that is just going to completely bamboozle Røkkr. Purge having a little bit of difficulty here, though, with Kenny. Finally gets the elimination, but it comes at the cost of the rest of Minnesota starting to rotate over, and the spawns will be blocked for now.
I'll be there from Røkkr, because you find 3 kills. Nera just gets a little too aggressive in towards bedroom. Once you cross that pathway of that 50-yard line that I always love to say, in towards the bedroom with no one blocking, that's what allows Boston to have a couple players spawning towards the back. But thankfully, they're able to stabilize through that moment, find all the clutch kills. Now Nera on 6 in a row, make it number 7. A slow start is usually not a 3 p.m. player, but he might be feeling himself a little bit better today.
Yeah, and this is one of those moments in this map where you look at and say Boston really missed an opportunity there. Like Minnesota just don't.
They had the rotation over towards Dew. You want to keep this hill basically scrappy, but the P4 needs to be the money hill, so you can fight yourself back into this game. But Minnesota with the angles, they find all 4 dead. Now Boston forced to try to break over from the opposite side. Estriel strikes again. Double positive 2.0 KD, still doing a little bit of objective work as well. But Boston need to get in. They need to guard soaking up this time.
I mean, this is just another one of those Røkkr games where Estrio and Geo just take over, and you allow an opportunity for a player like Nero, who starts off like triple neg, to get back to even. Like, it's just unbelievable how resilient this Røkkr team is. And so we kind of go back and forth between those two POVs. 70-point game, and as we start to look over towards P4, Minnesota Røkkr working on it as we head into a Røkkr listening.
Kemi's that too.
Make sure you back up. I'm looking. I got time.
I'm gonna get a channel. I'm gonna get a channel.
Okay, one is go bottom. They go left now. I have left.
Two chip.
I have left.
Stone.
I got it. I'm right there. No one's you can. You could jump away on stone. Stone wait, stone.
I just stone.
Stone wait. Yeah, get the stone lane now. Wait. I have all front. They go top stone. What's top first down? I give you drop. Top lane now. I get your front. They went front. In shower. In the back. Play the top. That's fine. I just fucking took the ball. I know. Ready to get. I'm getting there. I'm winning plot. That's fine. I'm gonna double it with you, bro. That's fine. I need every time. Y'all together.
Yeah, we are.
I said all of them. I'm down, sure.
I got stun.
We're good.
We're good. Still pitch or some shit.
Yeah.
I shot it.
I know what's up. What's the top first?
He's dropped.
Let's get shit. Let me piano press. Yeah. I need T. And what's up?
Low piano.
I have a trip on that.
I'm looking kitchen.
I'll get kitchen.
I'm already top. He's out kitchen.
I'll go kitchen.
Well, for a moment in there, I mean, we're looking at a 210 to 110 point game. Boston really do a solid job at P1, but unfortunately, right as soon as they need to put together a hold to string together 1-2, they get foiled, and now Minnesota's in a position to win the game.
Yeah, this is truly the difference of this map. Number one is the slang. Like, if you look at the Boston stat lines,
Correct.
No one is positive. Everyone's basically -10 besides Snoopy. They had that one sequence there where they were potentially going to start the comeback, but like you said, final 10 seconds, you're dying at P1 with a clean 4 dead. Minnesota Røkkr were able to flip those spawns. Now, if you can close it out here, yeah, that's going to be the game. Boston just decided to have too much of a slow start. Actually, Snoopy going to give it one last hurrah, but no, yeah, GG. Minnesota way too strong there. Map number one, the slang was just all there for Røkkr.
Yeah, that's one of the series you just gotta look at and you just think, damn. Like,
Awakening and Snoopy all got to figure out how to just stay alive a little bit longer.
and they need to do that on this map in particular. Again, for both the two stages that we've had to this point, they've only won 2 controls in the entirety of both qualifiers, the minors, and the majors combined per stage. Not good, and not a fantastic start here either, as Cammy's the last one left on patio stairs. And it looks like Gio and Kenny want to try to teamwork him out. Kenny giving him a battle, though. Gio eventually able to win the battle outright, and there will be an opportunity for Minnesota to stay up in the play, but not quite, as Boston get back quickly to the control office.
And that was already one of those situations where Cammy just plays his life. He knows that, okay, we went 3 for 1 on the last man standing. I need kills to go my way to make it easier for my teammates to get off the respawn. And he was able to catch a double. Teammates are able to reinforce behind him. That leads to a clean 4 dead. So Minnesota's first attempt instantly gets shut down. And you can already see that takes a minute off of the game clock. You got to start going if you're Røkkr.
Yeah, you sure do. And they're not really able to develop too much, at least not quickly, as the focus is over towards B. Snoopy does get pushed off the top spiral. You also have information that Cammy's playing up top at window, but they just can't deal with it. And Boston defensively, after what was a really solid breakoff for Minnesota, have really come to life here. Haven't lost many gunfights since that opening breakoff, if we're being honest. Off the reload, Cammy in trouble, almost actually able to push back against Gio. Last attempt for Røkkr has to be here on this B hit.
Yeah, final 5 seconds. Gio wins a big one-on-one. Opens up that B point. You sort of have a double stack going, but still a couple players from Boston unaccounted for. They're able to jump out through the window, able to find that kill. But an unfortunate team kill, now at least a 3 dead. So Minnesota guaranteed their first segment. They got a pinch here from Kenny on the horizon. Now all of Boston coming off the respawn. They realistically should be able to extend this time here.
Yeah, really important route right there from Kenny. It forces the spawns out, plus he also deals with the earliest defensive contestant up top. So now you've got an extra 60, and just like that, you snap your fingers, and it's a 15v15 on top of that. So now all of a sudden, shoes on the other foot if you're Boston trying to get back into defensive positions.
Yeah, and already tight in their spawn right now. Snoopy knows it. Thankfully, he's able to come back and find that kill on the Estrio. That now at least a 3 dead. So if you're narrow in this situation, just put yourself in a position to potentially find an opening for your team. Draw the attention from Boston so they can work their way out of base. With 35 seconds to go, we got to make this play quick.
Yeah, Wake gets traded over towards P2. That follow-up at Rock is good as well. Chasing is Snoopy, but has lost sight of Nero, who is now looking for some defensive spawners. Estriel does find Snoopy. Now there's an opportunity here to actually get on. Pause the clock at 20.9. Nero's not done top office on 4 in a row. Help is on the way over towards the point as well simultaneously. Can they find the kill they need down inside bar? Yeah, nice shots from Nero on 5 in a row. And here comes Minnesota. They have a chance to stack.
Yeah, this double stack going. Awakening's the only player to find a kill there, so now it's on him to just stall out time. The teammates are not near the plate. His second segment is going to be guaranteed.
Wow.
A big Wake on this pinch needs to find something.
Well, Nero's still alive and kicking. Gets the 10 and 4. Cammy pushes both players off. Now it's just down to Gio. This would be like a 1v3 essentially for him. Has a little bit of time to play with. Down to 10 seconds though. This next play has to be successful on the zone itself. Gio, a couple of defenders seen over towards patio side. Estriel down low. None of those gunfights coming through, and it's just on to Kenny, and he's going to be held outside of Fountain.
The teammates that just fly on in off the respawn, find the kills, and then hold strong to secure the first defense.
All right, now we swap the sides. See what Boston can manifest on their break off here. Trophy system over towards Arches. Looking for some early influence to play this B approach through fences, but it doesn't really work out. Kenny holding the stone wall. He's able to find himself too. Nero a follow-up through stairs, and Cammy's now the last one left, and Minnesota seems to know that he's playing, yep, over the top of fences. Kenny, good start, 3 in a row.
Shot down the initial B push. Now Boston to waste time working out of their spawn. They're taking their time on the approach. Someone going slow and steady in towards Secret, the other two attacking from Rock side. They're just looking for kills to go their way, and Snoopy opens up with the first. Awakening time for you to strike. That's already 3 dead. Last player here is going to be Nero. Snoopy's able to get out of dodge. Fantastic play to finesse your knife there. Now you can work some segments here at B.
And you get a little bit of further positioning over through Tin. Kind of scaling this offense a little bit further beyond the bounds of the zone. Purge up top, just trying to be a nuisance. Seen, dealt with. Gio, nice shots down low. 2 members on though for Boston. Second tick is going to get locked. Third on the way. Awakening finds one more before falling, giving Snoopy and Cammy a shot at this. It's just down to Kenny. Last one left. He's got a 1v1 with Cammy. Over the top of the fence, his opening shots are decent for both players, but help is here. Now the pinch from Purge is coming through though. He's going to find 2 more in front of him, but Gio shuts it down, and that third tick stays empty.
Yeah, third tick stays empty, but at least you have Awakening already put himself in a position to find a couple freebies. That's 2 dead. You have the numbers advantage. Snoopy on the pinch makes it 3. The only player unaccounted for is Kenny, the guy who broke us down the first attempt. He's all the way pushed out towards well. They know Awakening sitting in towards Bow House. Nice. Can't find anything, but now it's on Kenny.
Couldn't get there in time to get the final kills on the zone, so an extra 60 seconds comes through for Boston, plus they hold a life advantage. Minute 15 is what they'll have to work with. Awakening off his respawn, trying to hold over towards P4, shut down. The rest of the hit, though, is still here. Can they out-trade this? Estriel in trouble, but whoa. Help from Nero comes through in the nick of time, and Minnesota will still hold on towards open hallway.
Oh, and now this is on Purge. Can you open up a lane for your team? You at least find the first kill. Now just get out of dodge for next your life. You are listening to the Yonk. 50 seconds left to go. Boston up by 1 life, and now Purge with the repositioning might catch a couple more free kills.
Oh, Gio seen him, but doesn't make a difference. Purge too clean with it. 11 plays 9. 40 seconds on the clock. Boston still finding kills, not allowing Minnesota to get this defense in towards their spawn. Play on the point, now starting to come through with a couple of members. Estriel gets 1 before dropping. Awakening going to join the effort on the point as the first tick comes through. More potentially on the way. Purge is holding up top. He's in a really good spot to watch this. Has the first in front of him, not able to deal with the second. Can Nero clean the point up though? Second tick is looking good.
That's guaranteed. Now can you get on in and stop this third one? If you are Røkkr, Nero and Estrio already combined for 2. Soupy knows he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. I have to try to get on out, but it's 3 dead. Another 6v5 round. Purge just gonna back on up. Final push here from Boston.
Purge hoping he can maybe catch a Røkkr. Remember, a little bit too aggressive. Semtex has Purge weak with the opening shots that are there with him, but off the regen, Cammy's able to find one. Now that here comes the play forward with Snoopy in the mix, but Gio holds on nicely. The rest of this hit, though, starts to make a play through connector. Kenny right here and trying to save the day, and he's going to find 2. 3v2 situation. Last 2 members up are Purge and Snoopy. 3 seconds on the clock. You've got to jump in. You've got to touch. Purge the one to do so first. Catches the kill. You got to stay in the zone, though. You got to stay in the zone. 0.0, but caught.
Heavily in favor of Boston, but tie game now.
Really tight in these first 2 rounds. Caddy will retain a 4 spree coming into their next offensive effort. Trophy system down for both teams over the top of this B zone. Purge dealt with. That's now 5 for Kenny with an SMG to work with. He just slides right on into him. Trade good for Gio, but the Minnesota offense has been stalled.
And now it's on Gio. Kenny trying to make up some ground for that stall. Get a couple kills over towards the speed point, but at least Estrio off the respawn finds that kill onto Awakening. Gio now on 4 in a row, takes down Cammy. So it's already 2 dead. You got Nero in position to play for those spawners. We just got to hop on the point. Currently on B.
Now Gio off the mantle. Semtex out. Good help with Nero right there working with him. First tick is in. Second being worked on as Gio and Estrio still trying to force this one forward. Nero the last one remaining, but Purge finds the kill. Now the 1v1 with Kenny. And both players trying to just find their respective corners, but the shot's clean as the trophy system gets placed. And you thought maybe Kenny could keep the play alive, rather. But Snoopy deals with it, and Boston will find quick, successive kills and now be in a position to put the spawn trap in play.
Yeah, they reinforced immediately over towards Rock. Found a double with Kenny also falling. So now 3 off the reset. You can push up and take some space away, and we got everything covered. 25 seconds. Røkkr only have 1 segment to their name. 20v17. Last push going to be over here towards B.
Not again. Surely not. Purge, good first. He's got help nearby. Cammy's with him, and that help comes through immediately. 10 seconds on the clock. And Minnesota just not going to have the time to get to a zone unless Nero can find this 1v1 towards open hall and jump onto A. Not going to happen. Really. Yeah, defensively speaking, you don't really ask for much more. And really either of those 2 zones, outside of the fact that obviously that last breakdown on round 1 comes through. But for the most part, this has been really clean from Boston. Now this break off up top towards Fire Hall's looking good. Snoopy catches the first. Estrio trying to follow up on it, but denied. And Snoopy is thinking, yep, I've got help from an AR. Let's just go ahead, jump out, get on defenses, and get to work on the B zone.
First segment might be guaranteed here unless Gio's going to time this to contest at the right second. But he jumps on in, also wins that gunfight. I swear, like whenever I watch Gio with that AR in hand, even versus SMGs up close and personal, he has a really good chance of winning the gunny. And whenever he finds himself in that kind of mode, it's always very difficult to take him down. He single-handedly shuts down that B push. Now Boston forced to work their rotation on the OE through Rock side, and they at least are trading now and taking space away.
Another one of those maps that you start to look up towards the scoreboard and you say, who's going to be the hero to keep this Røkkr hope alive, as Estriel's just 13 and 25, really having a tough go of it. Awakening able to catch off one by surprise, and another. Wow, Kenny in the corner. Thought he would have had him dead to rights, but not the case. And so now it's just on to Estriel. The wrap for Boston heading over towards B, and they're going to get the second tick, especially with Purge able to find 2 up on the corner.
Yeah, that's going to make that so much easier at this B point. The only play you haven't accounted for is Estrio, but you should somewhat know that he touched that A point. He's most likely working the pinch. Now the positioning is known. You're trying to isolate onto that gunfight, adding that extra minute to the game clock. And you're currently up by 7 lives. Boston could close it out right now.
And they very well may. Cammy holding on to Office is on 3 in a row. Snoopy from the other angle. Big gunfight win versus Gio. And Awakening will just put the controller down on the zone at the moment. He is on A and hanging out while his team is absolutely frying. 5 for the Cam Man. Oh! Are we going to continue to just give him 1 for once? Maybe. And honestly speaking, Awakening is like, screw the point. Screw it. On the zone, dude. Yeah. I'm not even worried about it. They're just like, let's just get the kills.
Let's just keep on slaying, man. We have them in the hell lock right now. But at the right time, Minnesota are able to strike for a clean 4 dead. So now a minute to work with. You're up by 11 lives. No way Boston throw this situation away.
Well, Kenny's going to stun
That's a
himself
good
in
start.
place. But no. Awakening will catch 2. Purge, yeah, freebie up there, and that'll be all 4 dead. So it got a little mixy there for a moment. Minnesota, a late lease on life, but Nero's not going to have a chance to get back to the zone. And yeah, really solid stuff for Boston here in the Hacienda control. Smiles all around it for good reason. And literally the beginning of the year, but still the same storylines apply. Can you keep an eye on Snoopy, because you know he's going to get wild?
Oh yeah, with that SMG, probably the only SMG on the side of Boston. He is going to be playing for those pinch plays and try to be a nuisance as much as he possibly can. But it's all going to be about the ARs here. Minnesota Røkkr, you add a player like Kenny to the mix, to play a map like Røkkr, where we know that Gio's presence is going to be felt. Sometimes Pollux is there, sometimes he's wasn't. But Kenny, you got to be here to try to force game 5.
Well, really strong start here for Boston. I mean, just about as flawless as you could ever draw up on the notebook, as Kenny's the only one who finds a kill in the first 15 seconds. Will freely go to Boston. Purge following up. Now he's on 3 in a row and playing a really solid cutoff spot. He just completely stalls out the Røkkr completely. And now you're almost stuck, spawning in a really miserable spot, and that slow start from Minnesota is starting to creep a little bit here into map number 4.
Yeah, but you do want those spawns for P2. You want to stay out towards stage side, and at the right time they're striking with those kills in their favor. Technically not going to win the rotation over towards New. They do have one player currently in the HP, but Purge should have a freebie. He unfortunately does not. So now Minnesota in the power spot to work their way right back into this game. Oh, that doesn't help.
That's unfortunate. Trophy system takes out Nero, but Minnesota still a position to fight from inside the hard point. Purge getting some arches control. Middle of the map now being won back by Awakening, leaving Gio kind of finessing for his life. He's got a little bit of help from Nero, but you can't see much from backside hot dog stand, especially with Nero pulling over towards goal. So that's enough for Boston to use their numbers, break on through, and they actually do catch Gio spawning out. Oh, that pinch works out beautifully, and Minnesota will find the rewipe.
Yeah, they're able to stabilize on that situation, still control the spawns, to try to chain it over towards that P3. Astral early off the roto. He's going to have his hands full, only able to take down one. Purge effective on the trade. And now if you're Purge, you just want to stay out, because your teammates now, if they die in this situation with 5 seconds left, you're still going to spawn in the backside of Old. So it's all on Purge off this roto.
Now he's got a really good idea on where Nero's coming from, and tallies that for an elimination. Semtex and Stun trying to hold him back. Purge still trying to force the battle. Didn't really have help with him. And that's enough for Minnesota to deal with the pressure on the backside of the hard point and now start to establish their setup. But from the front, this is looking good.
Yeah, rotations were a lot better in map number 1 for Røkkr, and so far they're showing it here in map number 4. There's a clean 4 dead. At least the Boston all spawning towards the front. They have yet to be able to touch in towards P3. But now you have a little bit of presence over towards that big bus side. Awakening strikes for the first. Kenny effective on the trade. You are surrounded by the Boston breach, but it does not matter. You go 2 for 2. You give your teammate an opportunity here.
Yeah, that Strudel just extends the play, gets out, even finds an angle to take down Snoopy. So now you can try to re-aggress on this last 13 seconds, and that's exactly what the subs for Minnesota will do. Yeah, really solid stuff. I mean, Boston found 20 plus seconds on P1, and since that point, it has just been the Minnesota Røkkr show, and that's going to continue to be the case as you look over towards the minimap, and our new hard point is going to be completely owned by Minnesota.
Yeah, this is where Røkkr can pull away with this game very, very quickly if Boston can't find a break. You're currently up 540. Potential full 60 on the horizon here. You're finding trace in the middle of the map, so if you're Boston, you have the angles potentially set up on these pinches, but you need these kills around stage. Snoopy already finds 2. Kenny's on you. Just win this one-on-one.
And he does. Good help across hedges. Keep Minnesota very comfortable in the hard point. Gio now right back through mid double doors. That works out to, again, clear off Boston completely. And they have had no success at all in the last 2 hard points. Double up here from Gio, just continuing to dominate in the middle. And that's just, again, forcing Boston to have to flood from the front. And this is exactly the last place you want to be if you're Boston. And now you're just going to chalk it up and try to rotate.
Yeah, you got to be losing composure right now if you're Boston, because the only way you're able to take Kenny out of that HP was off of the wall bang, committing so much ammo. Take care of him, but you get no time there because the setup from Røkkr was way too strong. The crossfires are way too strong, and now you're forced to cut your losses down by 80 to make up a lot of time here at P5, which usually don't find a lot of time here.
Wow. Well, Awakening kind of saves the play by keeping the hard point neutralized, and he finds a follow-up. That's great because Kenny is looking like he's going to imminently find the trade. He does, but everything still stays a bit of a tug of war here over the top of the bleacher hard point. numbers for Minnesota at the moment. Gio will make sure that that comes through as he finds the final kill into Cammy. And now Estriel can, play a little bit of a block off through the front side of the concourse. Double chow goes through Estriel, still dealing with it. Purge able to find 2 of his own, and that will neutralize once again under the hard point with 20 seconds to fight.
Yep, 20 seconds to the fight for him. Boston need every single second to work their way back into this game. It's just Minnesota by having such a phenomenal lead so far in this one. You can contest all the way to the very end of all these jump times. So you know Boston have to commit on it, but now off the rotation, Minnesota combined for 3. They have hedge control, and they're forcing Boston in that headlock setup again to try to find a breakthrough Eskies.
Yeah, this has just been almost the same story that we saw from map number 1.
Yeah.
Minnesota just taking over on the rotation game. Nice nade and follow-up from Kenny. Helped us win that 1v1 versus Awakening. Follow-up fights through the middle of the map once again. Continue to keep us in this back and forth affair. But Kenny is shooting 17 and 10. Almost gets the better of Awakening again. But regardless of the result, it's still Minnesota in the hill.
Yeah, the AR presence right now for Minnesota Røkkr seems to be too much to handle for Boston. You need to try to turn it around. You need to find a break here at P1. You have a lot of reinforcements working their way through the middle of the map, but it's Kenny on the pinch. Kenny on the pinch, able to line up a couple, puts down shots at the Snoopy to not soak up any of this P1 time. But now you set up narrow for the double. You're trying to fight for that stage control, and now it's on Estriel to work that deep route.
Yeah, you got Awakening trying to play a bit of a delay on this route through stage as he spawned out. He's done well to catch one, gives his teammates a very big chance to win the opening time here at P2, but Nero and Estriel, once again, the spark plug for Minnesota coming to life. Follow up in the point, looking good. Trophy system is now down, and Minnesota again, give him the win for the rotation here.
And now you're banking on Snoopy on this pinch. Already works his way out towards Hedge, only able to find one, and Nero absolutely rips him off of H3. But Minnesota still holding on. About to breach that 200 point mark. You got a contest fight in towards the HP. Kenny there for the trade. You're more than happy to just keep it wet at this point if you're Røkkr.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Well, 23 seconds to fight. Røkkr going to play the long game of just setting themselves up for new, while also just committing the rest of G's to playing around the old time. Shutdown from Boston is exactly what they need, though. 10 seconds of scrap, looking decent, but most importantly, Purge is in a position to make sure the rotation to new is completely safe.
Yeah, they're going to be locked up. They have the rotation over towards new. The setup just needs to be better. Kills off the rotation are also going to play a big part, because at least you die at the right time to spawn on the backside of that new hard point. But on the same time, it's a parallel spawn here from Narrow to early contest.
Indeed the case. It's going to be just a flat-out 50-50 over the top of the hill. 45 seconds still on it, and Boston need it badly. Need every single bit of it. Snoopy almost able to fight off every single Røkkr from the front, but the follow-up is good. Cammy getting a trophy system into play. Boston going to get all 4 members in position to deal with this next hit.
And now it's the final 30 seconds. We need to start moving forward with the next wave of kills if they go your way. Just don't want to allow Minnesota to have you trapped in the way that they did last go around at the stage hard point. Snoopy making miracles happen. He's able to pop a double. Now it's all on Purge. He knows he's surrounded. He has to get out the hill for now. But that one player who was early off the rotation, Cammy, gets cut down. Now the long route gets shut down, and Minnesota Røkkr can potentially close it out at stage to force game 5.
Yeah, they really could. Setup is there. Boston will have to win this first set of fights. See Nero up top, Estriel in the point, Kenny watching from street. Everything is locked down. Just comes down to, can they win the gunfights? And so far, so good. 230 to 112. Kenny just runs out of ammunition. Boston able to find a couple of key eliminations, but how do you get into this hard point? Nero still up top. Can be able to find one more, but it's Estriel staying inside the stage, nice and safe.
Yeah, this is over with. Like Minnesota Røkkr have the crosses again being watched. Already find 2 kills. That's all 4 dead. We got a game 5. Finally, Alan. It's been such a long time, but we're back, baby. Game 5. First, and then isolate them in towards the cafe. It makes your job a whole lot easier with that mid-map control. Røkkr, secure the first.
Definitely different, but it works out nicely. Now all of a sudden, Røkkr hitting the gas right through mid-map, trying to get to the window to be, and that will work out. Purge, who was largely responsible for middle, was playing it passively, and now it's just down to him and Cammy. I think Purge, he actually does not see him on that corner, and he's saying, oh, my bad, Cam, I told you they were going A. No, they're here at B.
And now you don't know what the timing is going to look like, but this time Kenny switches up the positioning there from Purge. He said, you played this one and you stood up and got picked. This time I lay down and have a better angle. He's able to win that gunfight, make it a 1v3, and just too many numbers on the side of Røkkr. Secures a very quick attacking round. And I'm just loving the pacing right now for Minnesota, because all of that rewind, it was Boston dictating of how the map was going to be played.
Yeah.
So far, 2 quick rounds of Minnesota taking away A site, first of all, on their defense, but then immediately with that mid-map pressure, isolates both those players at B, get the bomb down, play your numbers, and successful on the post plant. So far, up 2-0.
See what Minnesota want to do on this defense, because like you mentioned, the wild success that they found through A means that that set play was never seen. Trophy system down keeps the incoming nades away, but not the cars. Awakening will explode as he tries to approach the A site. Geo right there from the backside with Estriel to shut this down, leaving it just to Purge, and he's really got nowhere to go but out.
Yeah, 1v3. They're chasing you down. They're not going to allow you to get out for free, but Purge is already been able to get out of dodge.
Yeah.
Now you reset here with the bomb being down at A, but once the information is gained, Kenny also has an AR in the back pocket. And this so far has been a very quick S&D map from Røkkr.
Yeah, and I love that call from Røkkr. It's nothing different than what it looked like they tried to do in round number 1. The only difference is there's trophy systems in the third, so nades don't fully get to the corner, but the van still blows up. So Boston tried to play with tempo behind that trophy system. Doesn't make a difference if you've got exploding vehicles in your face. And then just, again, chasing down Purge, but knowing the bomb is down at street. Very easy call to try to play a little bit further forward, but not lose sight of the bomb.
Yeah, we might have to get an update or something, because I heard Joe in the time that he was casting this map saying, there's way too many cars, man. You just need a trophy system basically for every single one. Because you never know when that thing is going to blow on up. But even when you invest a trophy, the nade blows it up. So now you cannot commit everything over towards there. You're going to retake through the middle of the map, and not a single player from Boston did contest it.
Yeah, that's just one of those moments where the frag just beats the trophy to the ground. So Minnesota can't really develop the play towards A. They get mid-map, though, again for free. So surprising to see that come through. And that's going to lead to another plant situation with Boston looking to retake with all 4 from the front.
Yeah, they're going to retake this stone very, very quickly. They have the numbers. You got to try to isolate on these gunfights, and you strike at the right time. Everyone's a one-on-one. Now, Geo in a 1v4. What are we waiting for? Someone hop the bomb. Thank you.
A little bit of timing here. But no, not going to happen. Okay, that'll work. I mean, I think there's one of those moments where the astonishment of Minnesota saying like, whoa, we get mid for free again. Let's just try to hop this, but don't have, you know, that's an adjustment. That's a mid-round adjustment coming out from one they initially wanted to develop over towards A. So that trophy system gets down a little bit late. Guns aren't fully up. Estriel's in trouble. Everything just kind of falls apart in Boston quick on the flood. Find every single kill they need right from the front.
Yeah, it's just tough there if you're Minnesota, because the objective player is the first guy that you're focusing on, because everyone that's trying to watch over him is playing their timings. Obviously, they just cut through the middle map. Flank was open, so you had to put someone in a position to watch that. But then the player who was scouting over from that mid window gets back down, and you simply get outnumbered in that retake. So Boston able to put one on the board, and now they're trying to dictate how the map is going to be played. The aggression through the middle of the map, and Awakening on the opposite side strikes at the first blood.
I absolutely love that. Boston is stuck at mid. So many nades being tossed their direction. But as you start to see nades come through the B windows, Awakening says, all right, I'm going to try to find this 1v1. And it works out beautifully. Now a lot of pressure on Minnesota to try to deal with this. And it may come down to Estriel, timing-wise, here at front office window.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting the caterpillar plays there from the Boston Breach SMGs. They find that kill, instantly put them in a 4v2. Awakening gets too aggressive and gifts one right there to Geo. And the same thing could be said on the opposite side for Kenny. Makes it a 2v2. Bomb planted at B, though.
Very doable, especially with Kenny finding that kill on the other side of the map. It will make Boston consider the potential for a long flank. And you can see Purge is way out of the picture, leaving Snoopy just to sit here and throw shoulders. And he's got to kind of check for 2 angles at once. And he kind of misses the timing on the first. Purge gets pushed off. Now here comes the isolation over towards the front side at Kitchen. Kenny's already over towards the bomb. Hasn't hopped for it yet. But this play from Geo could work out perfectly. But no, maybe the door has been heard. Maybe not. Hard to say. 13 seconds though on the clock. Geo has to try to chase down the kill. And he's got to make the jump happen. And of course, everyone knows about that, including the last standing member for Boston, who just waits for it, finds the kill, and there's no worries.
Oh, definitely a little bit worrisome, though, because that was a 2v4 you almost threw away. 2 players trying to work those long angles, both get isolated, and then the 2v2, even with Purge, repositioning himself over through the middle of the map, information gets gained. And I thought Geo on that repinch to that side room Was almost going to be able to line up a double, just simply ran out of time there. Minnesota Røkkr almost pulling out the 2v4 clutch, but Boston able to stabilize, take the round, now only down by 1.
This time the trophy system gets placed a little bit further back, and it does find success to keep this Minnesota offense safe on the corner. But
Good shots.
yeah, I was gonna say, it still doesn't help taking away the long range angle the Cammy's on. Secondary trophy gets placed behind us. Looks like Minnesota do want to just kind of hedge their bets and still try to force this, but Purge on 4 in a row.
No.
And Hero from the window catches 2. Someone I thought for sure was watching it, not the case, and all of a sudden we're into a 2v2.
Yeah, we were just trying to isolate that gunfight onto Estrio. They eventually get it, but now in a 2v2, you're still in a battle. 31 HP in the dream. Cammy just going to play his life. Awakening watching over him. And now we stabilize on the map. 45 seconds, Minnesota Røkkr rotating.
Yeah, we cut contact, we cut noise, and we're trying to put some pressure on the Boston defense, but Cammy's in the perfect spot, and the follow-up, good prediction. Shuts down the play, backdoor garage, and all of a sudden we find ourselves deadlocked as Boston have really put these last couple of rounds together nicely.
It's been some massive first bloods on the side of Boston, man. That was the story of map number 2. They were able to win it 7-1. And one of those rounds still going in favor of Minnesota. You open up with that first kill, you put yourself in an early man advantage. You can isolate on some of these gunfights because someone's going to try to make up for it. But thankfully, the repositioning out of both teams, a little bit better there out of Boston. As they were playing for that push through garage. They're able to catch the double to tie the game up.
Røkkr heavy stack at mid. Really only using a couple of stuns there by the sound of it. One last follow-up just to make sure. But yeah, I think that's at least 3, if not all 4 stuns from Minnesota being popped. They don't find the content they want at middle, and now the delayed hit comes through. Just the absolute worst case scenario. It does get traded away, but still, that's good news for Boston, able to open up the space.
Yeah, without question, man, because now they don't really have to put a lot of focus on the tax being invested. Kenny's able to find the kill, though. While the bomb is getting planted at B, and Cammy, unfortunately, you were going to give a high 5 there to Gio. It's a 1v2 for Snoopy.
Just playing inside the hut. Oh, good prediction. Slide, gun up for Nero. Works out nicely. No contact, no conflict, no problems. Even though initially it looked like Minnesota was going to get fooled. Just so much investment through mid, and there's just all it is a delayed hit for Boston that starts to open up the map. But the follow-up eliminations around the outside, especially down towards the bottom for Kenny, are critical towards making sure that Minnesota defense stays into a really good spot.
Yeah, because the majority of those kills that went down that round, as soon as it started off for Boston, it was instantly responded by Minnesota Røkkr. As soon as Cammy found a kill in towards garage, Estrio was there to trade. The only one that wasn't untraded was Kenny finding that kill onto Awakening over towards B while the bomb was getting planted. Massive play from him to just get that one, get out of dodge, keep the man advantage on his side, and then the retake even better. Røkkr take the advantage again.
Hit over towards B. This time the defense going to get there. Awakening's knee has been seen. So that's enough to know that for Minnesota, this approach is going to be heavily contested. Trophy system deleted, though, and Awakening could be in trouble.
No way.
It's the lineup instead before the stun comes through. What a critical 1-for-2 exchange that is for Awakening. And Boston should feel pretty comfortable that his defense is still solid.
Yeah, Røkkr played that just too fast. I know Kenny's definitely commented, there's a trophy there, let me shoot it out, let's invest in stun. But by the time he throws the stun, 2 of the teammates get aggressive at the wrong time. And Awakening, who looked like he was going to get blooded, finds a double. Down to 2v3 for Røkkr. The aggression going to be here for Boston as they have the numbers to fly through dealership. They tie the game.
Wow. This has just been such a flip of a switch for Boston. And I will say this round in particular is just really beautiful timing and maybe a stroke of luck from Awakening because he's seen, tagged, and then the stun's out already. It looks like Minnesota are trying to chow as soon as that stun pops, but it doesn't get there in time, and Awakening finds the lineup to essentially just turn the round before he gets isolated. That is unbelievably good from Wake.
Yeah, just a little too fast there from Røkkr. But a massive round there from Wake. Ties the game up. Now Boston going to take the slow and steady approach on this offense. Let's see what Minnesota are trying to take away from them. Not any information gained so far. Everything is dead silent. Now we're going to start to rotate over towards B.
And they're doing this with no utility. This is just a contact play. Wow.
Minnesota aren't mad about this, though, Alan. They retook it the last time with ease in the
Correct.
4v4, so.
But the difference here, Jay, is that there's trophy systems for Boston, and they have a full tool belt where the utility is still used.
And everyone backs on up, too. No one's going to give up their life for free, so 30 seconds to go. Minnesota, again, need to play a little bit quicker.
Oh, but first blood comes through mid. Awakening on the corner. Good damage. Stun is there. Estriel falls still. But the problem is Minnesota just hop on for the defuse. About to say, that's a good pick initially, but Estriel is just essentially playing bait. He's just like, I'm just going to throw my life in, see if they can focus on me while we hop for the bomb, and Boston's just too far back.
Way too far back, man. Playing safe rather than sorry. And unfortunately, they are sorry after that round because you get the bomb down for free. No tax get invested. You waste at least the first 15 seconds on the game clock. But Minnesota Røkkr, they walk their way into courtyard and they're like, wait, nobody's here. They're not even in the archway. Like, they're playing their sweet time in their base, and we already have mid-map control. The only thing that can break us is if someone works that super deep pinch.
Yep.
But not a single player from Boston were in that route. So Minnesota, again on a successful retake, put themselves at game point.
I just absolutely love that sense of urgency once you get that pick through mid. Let's just dive through the windows. Force this post plant to deal with us. Now you've got an opportunity here for Minnesota to put the game to bed. And they're going to go for the plant at B. Retake to be required for Boston. Last time they did this, they did it by all 4 members flooding from the front. This is the same setup, and Estriel's got the safety blanket this time of trophies. And Ken over the top, and Purge still wins the first gunfight. Oh my God, joking? No way. They just walk into the setup like that and find every kill. Nero, maybe a chance to take the diffuser off, but doesn't tally the player at offensive. We got round 11.
Oh my God. Last time that they matched up was what, like December 7th? It went all the way to a game 5, round 11. We find ourselves in the same exact situation, just on a different map. As Boston, their attempt, they're on a retake is perfect. Purge slides on in for the first. Snoopy wins his one-on-one, and Awakening with 74 HP. Geo usually doesn't lose those up close and personals with the AR in hand. But again, the same scenario there for Boston. Everyone winning their one-on-ones. Secure the retake, and now 1 round away to decide who is the winner here.
Oh, mercy. Minnesota's going to go right back into the quick B hit. Waiting for the stuns to come through first. There is a trophy system down for Awakening to play safely in the backside of the site, but that gets discovered, and it looks like Kenny's just going to clear it. Yep, and then they can play for the plant again.
Instantly going to put the bomb down, but this time, look at you have Kenny working on the deep pinch. The contest is already going to be here, but the first blood goes in favor of Geo.
Yeah, Estriel hops off from the plant to just make sure he's got his gun up. It's a different stroke here for the defense of Boston, trying to play quickly, trying to play for the contest, catch Minnesota off guard, but now you've got to find a way to retake this 3v4, and this is all coming through middle. Kenny, opening shots are decent. Snoopy still waiting for a time to go. You've got Awakening who's going to be playing off. Got one. He finds the first. Kenny's backed off this angle. He's got help from Geo, though. First 2 kills are decent. Awakening last one. Left is shut down, and Minnesota will capture a series. And a map 5, round 11. And Kenny's got a